Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. My baby don't mess around because she loves me so. And yes, I know for sure. Sorry. Ow. Cold coffee. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Really Good and Kind. I am your lovely host, Cal, best hair in the game. And today we're going to be going over my initial thoughts while going through the first 3 episodes of Amazon's The Wheel of Time. Full disclaimer, I've read this quite a few times. I've read the book series more times than I can really count. It's one of my favorites, right up there. It's below Malazan, because Malazan is still my favorite. But I have watched it a lot, I have read it a lot. So I'm going to be taking a full spoilers book approach because that's what I was doing while I was watching it. I basically was chatting with some of my friends online. Discord link below if you want to come hang out. And I was just, since I'm so ADD, I can't do one thing at a time. I basically just posted my thoughts as I was watching it, and sometimes paused to talk to the people who had already seen it, who were live chatting with me as it went. So we're gonna go through the first 4 episodes, and depending on how this does, I'll maybe do some other stuff like this. Here we go. Okay, I'm rewatching from episode 1. That's the first comment. First complaint: no epic opening theme music or credits. This is rectified in episode 2, I know. Second, if the 2 rivers is so isolated, how are there rumors of Taviran? I haven't yet seen a good explanation except for the blue Aja has eyes, which is a childish response to what I think is a reasonable script question. And then Nynaeve says, "We all stand with you," and everyone is sitting down, watching Egwene get shoved into a river. Not very feminist of them. Show ruined. The show ruins here are facetious ejaculations as to, count the amount of time something just instantly sort of took me out of the show. Show ruined is being used a bit hyperbolically here, but yeah. Yeet, into the water she goes. I like this scene as it visualizes the mental metaphor for embracing Saidar. That's true. I did think they did a pretty good job of that. Nynaeve tells her before she pushes her in is basically, what the Aes Sedai are going to end up teaching her later. When she gets thrown into the water, she kind of has to relax and float at the top in order to get around the rapids and all the rocks. Which that isn't how that works, by the way. Don't ever get caught in rapids if you can help it. Good filmmaking, not realistic. And then somebody, my friend Momo says, yeah, I thought that was cool. I said, too much shaky cam. Complaint 2.3. Why hire Michael J. Fox as your handheld cameraman? I think this was the, for when I was thinking back to the very first cold open, where the Red Aja are chasing not Logain through the wilderness. And then I did like how from the guy was telling him, oh yeah, you can do it. And then she says, oh, there's nobody there. I did like how it was an actual person that the guy could see there on screen. And then the hard cut to the actual or Aes Sedai point of view, and there's nobody there. I thought that was really cool. I hope they sort of keep up that style for things that happen later on down the line. And then the next scene is Rand and Tam doing our On an Empty Road or On a Lonely Road opening from the book. And Tam's spear disappears in one shot and reappears in another. I said, shaking my head. Establishing shot of the 2 rivers has only one river. Show ruined. Matt using dice in his first scene. That's a good choice. And then they slander some Coplans, which I thought was pretty great. They should have slandered some buoys as well, but, if we can only get one, we only get one. And then Rand and Perrin discuss Matt's Norm Macdonald-like gambling problem, which is not a great problem to have. And Egwene is back from her swim, and her dad is a skinny innkeeper. Show ruined. And then one of the other mods in there says, I really like the shaky cam. Shaky cam is bad when it's used for fight scenes, which is what that scene was. But it wasn't really a fight scene. Yes, it was. it was a slaughter, and the shaky cam really helped sell the cows of the situation. No. If I can't see what's going on, telling me that, it's not technically a fight scene, so it's not about, no. I hate shaky cam. The only way it works is in POV shot. And then when Moraine walks into the inn, I found that out of focus, but I can't spell focus when I'm watching in my fucking chat here. I spelled fuckos, Fucos, which should be a word. The out of focus Moraine shot, completely extraneous and not necessary. I know they were trying to build up the tension, but especially after already showing her earlier when the Reds caught this random male channeler, then you don't need to do the out of focus thing at all, especially if we're going from the POV of the people in the Two Rivers. Then they're not going to have any idea who she is. And this is one book to show thing that I don't like how it's introduced. There's a lot I didn't like about this first episode. The extra long, awkward silence after Moraine walks into the room is also not needed for a show that doesn't seem to know why a shot or a scene should last more than 45 seconds. This show surely did linger on that for far too long. And then base Nynaeve, because Nynaeve is always awesome. She's my favorite character in the show so far. And then, Perrin is somehow married to Maester Luwin. Yeah, you've probably heard a lot of this already before from other people. Master Luwin being changed to Perrin's wife and not getting a Master Luwin. If he shows up later on down the line, then that'll be our introduction to him. But not getting Master Luwin, and instead getting... They don't even introduce her name in the scene. And then, this is another part that got me. She has the I know from the I love you, I know. Like, they gave her the Han Solo line. What is with that? Show ruin. And I didn't even spell ruin correctly there. I was talking in all caps, so I was upset. And now we have Matt's, and then my next comment is, and now we have Matt's family being butchered in this version of the wheel. And my friend Momo says, yes, that's the biggest crime. So I know I'm not alone in that. Abel Cawthon is a great dude, and I will not stand for this Abel slander. Ooh, Rand and Egwene make out in the inn. Then she just basically tells him, is that a berry in your pocket, or are you happy to see me? I guess they don't have bananas in the Two Rivers, which is odd, considering they seem to have fucking everything else there. No thatched roofs, already tiles, show ruined. Moraine being impressed by the inn having a bath is peak Carhinen, or Carhinen, Carhine, the place that she's from. Name I can't pronounce because I'm an audiobook pleb. That makes sense as far as maybe young Moraine, not the wise woman we're supposed to be getting at the start of this book. Maybe for young Moraine being like, "Oh yeah, they have hot baths. I didn't even think they would have hot baths here." And then he's like, "You can make it hotter." I'm like, "All right, Lan, no need to up the sexual tension in this room," but he does that a lot. It's a wonder Nynaeve, took so long to follow them. Yeah, this was another question I have, is since when are wisdoms an order of nuns? Because Days Congar was basically like, known to, get boyfriends and stuff. And then I said show ruined again. And then it's not exactly, not exactly subtle to show the fade and then feign in rapid succession, like it hard cuts from a fade shot to a feign shot. And so it's like, oh, okay, yeah, not subtle, but I get what you're doing here. I said, I am glad that Perrin's wife doesn't have the stereotypical cool girl haircut, like you see all the time, the half of the head shaved or the shaved on the sides with like the braid or the ponytail or whatever. That's in fucking everything. It's in Arcane. It's in League of Legends. It's in fucking goddamn, what's that game called? Apex Legends. That game sucks. Fuck that game. It's a fucking boring ass game, and it takes too long to get into any sort of match, and it's just not fun. It's not fun. It's a bad battle royale. It's like, ooh, let's do Fortnite, but worse. The POV Moraine shots had better be leading to something, but I don't think they are, because yeah, they've done it like 2 or 3 times now at this point in the show or of the episode, where they give a Moraine specifically. First, she did it in the end. She was looking from person to person, being like, "Oh, yeah, who's the Dargan Rebird?" and it didn't lead to anything. If you're going to have some sort of setup like that, especially using that sort of cinematic language, you do need to eventually have a payoff. And almost every single, let me preface this, in my opinion, in every single well-made movie or TV show that uses the POV shot, you usually get 3 of them in rapid succession. So you get set up, ultimate reveal, which is the ultimate purpose of doing it, and I didn't get that here, and that bugged me. And then I don't like that Moraine associates cleaning with not meaningful work to Nynaeve. If you ever lived with someone who's a slob, cleaning is fucking important. Like, it is, first of all. Secondly, this would have got, like, she would have had to do dishes and all the scrubbing and everything else in the White Tower. So she should, above all, know that it's not the case, right? You use cleaning and stuff as punishment because it gives people time to think about how not to get in that situation again. That's why you do it. Anyone with children will be able to tell you this. And when they're going there, they're supposed to be children. So the tower should have, given the mistress of novices would have beat that out of her at this point. I am not condoning corporal punishment. I'm just saying that would have already happened. The show ruined. Nynaeve goes on her monologue about her mom dying, and that the White Tower kind of turned her away, which I could see the Black Aja doing. I could totally see the Black Aja doing that. I don't know if I like that. It's like, oh, Amazon talking to people about classism. Read the fucking room, guys. Like, come on. If there's anyone I'm interested in hearing that from, it's not fucking Amazon. And then my friend was like, yeah, that was a little questionable. Then Nynaeve basically, back-talking Moraine and telling she's going to protect the town from her. Classic Nynaeve, fire moment. Zoe Robbins is bae. And then my other mod did raise an interesting point, that's assuming that everything happened as Nynaeve said it did. So things could have happened differently. We don't know that. We do only get one point of view on that whole situation, and it's hers, secondhand, sort of, even though she was technically there for part of it. Yeah, so that is a good point. This could be setting up something to be either paid off on or subverted later, and I know we're in episode 1. But this was just what I was thinking as I was watching it. The only one she usually lies to is herself, at least in the book. So, Nynaeve lying to Moraine about her mom, unintentionally I could see happening. Intentionally, absolutely not. She only ever lies to herself. She doesn't lie to other people. She doesn't always tell them everything, but she doesn't lie. Nynaeve does not lie. That's why she's the most based. And then, the listening to the wind scene. That was good. And then for the first time, Nynaeve goes, oh, there's a storm coming. There's a storm on the way. It's like, oh, yeah, you're not going to see this repeated again. And then I did a tally of what I had said so far. So far we have 5 show ruins to 3-ish that was goods. So, again, first episode, these were just the raw sort of thoughts. Then Matt refusing Rand and Perrin's money, whereas pretty great. And then we get to my favorite part of this episode, whereas it cuts from the wind blowing across the river to with Rand and the sheep. That is where you should have started. That is where the show should have began, right there. POV shot of the wind going right on down to the sheep pen where Rand is doing farm boy shit. That's where you should have started. And, and in show's defense, having to put up with modern television standards when trying to tell this sort of story, that was a little bullshit. Like, I mentioned it earlier, but the editing in what I've seen so far is not good. Like, you need to let things breathe. You need to stay with a scene for as long as you need to stay in that scene. Not freaking cut the scene off. Like, it's like, okay, so people get mad at Brandon Sanderson for the end of his novels, and sometimes Steven Erikson for the end of his novels, where at the end, sometimes you'll be cutting between points of view by paragraph, just over and over and over and over again. I think those books earn that by spending the time with the characters to lead up to that moment where everything is changing from person to person to person. Because by this point, you're familiar with the thought and speech patterns of the characters if the author is competent. Otherwise, they all sound like the same person. I think they earn that. the show does not need to have less than 1 minute in each scene and continue cutting between 3 or 4 5-minute scenes. That fucking drove me nuts. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. Show ruined, he said facetiously. All right. Tam has matches. Show ruined. Like, for real. I guess we're not getting a Ludra in this turning of the wheel. I'm a little upset by that. At least, please still tell me a lady invented those in this version of Wheel of Time. Don't, like, give me some, it's lost Aes Sedai technology that just became common. No. Aludra invented that shit. Hands down. And I guess she's just going to be older in this version, and her inventions have kind of scattered. That would be a way to bring her in without having to spend all of the time learning about, her and her people with the Fireworks Guild or whatever they're called. Oh my God. I am going to get shit in the... I'm leaving that in. Fireworks Guild. Fireworkers, Terabon. I'm totally having a regular one today. This has gone cold. Waste not, want not, right? This is America. And that's another show ruined. I don't know what this comment means now. A few days, nearly a week after doing all of this. But I'm still going to tell you what it says. It says, ruined a great world-building scene with some interesting down-story thematic stuff. Which kind of sounds like a contradiction to me. But whoever said I was consistent about anything? I was like, again, right here is where we should have started. With the wind moving down there, just cut right to Winter Night. If you wanted to get right into it, cut right to Winter Night. You can do flashbacks for some of the stuff that you've filmed that happens beforehand. After, just start right at fucking Winter Night. That would have been ballers. And then also, no Gleeman on Winter Night? What is this? What is this? No, Raycon, I do not want another pair of Raycons. I have AirPods now. I'm just kidding, Raycon. If you're watching this, I'd love to do a sponsorship. Oh, yeah. And then oh boy, here we go. This is when episode 1 really got good for me, is the raid on the Two Rivers begins. And the Trollocs start coming out of nowhere and just ripping people apart. This scene is fantastic. And this brings me to my second pet peeve with this show. Number 1, I do not like the editing. As hire a different editor, or at least get maybe one person to have final cut authority who knows what cinematic language is. That I would appreciate. And then I do not like the music. I do not like the music in this show. The scene, like right before the carnage starts and everyone's dancing around and listening to their local folk band do Neutral Milk Hotel covers, that's fantastic. Leave the music diegetic. If you're going to do that, leave the music diegetic. Game of Thrones did this really well. That's something you guys should have learned from. They also had a freaking badass, like, he's so incredibly goddamn talented. Rajaman Djawadi, I don't know if I'm ever saying his name right, but he is a composer for Game of Thrones, and his music is iconic. Not just because the show reached a certain level of ubiquity, but it's arranged fantastically, it's catchy, there are themes and everything sort of woven in through the whole soundtrack, so when you're in the North, you know you're in the North. The Game of Thrones, bam, bam, ba-da-dum, bam, that thing is used for, and it's changed from character to character. You hear it show up in Cersei's best scene in season 6 of Game of Thrones, in the track Light of the Seven, when in show everything is going nuts during that whole scene, things getting lit on fucking fire. It repeats that arrangement inside the new key, as the theme song is like A minor and Light of the Seven's in D minor. But when things are actually going insane in the show, it reuses that bam bam ba ba bam bam sort of beat measurement and tonality to signify that something Thronesian, for lack of a better term, is happening. Like, Littlefinger pulling a dagger on Ned Stark and saying, "I told you not to trust me." Something big is happening when that music is played. And so far, other than the main theme, which, again, as far as this timeline is concerned, I wasn't aware we were going to get a main theme until the second episode, which, after I heard the Game of Thrones theme, I was humming it, after the first episode. I can't really remember the Wheel of Time theme song. I can remember and then some falsetto stuff. But like, that's not, great. It's not my favorite. So I do not like the music so far. I hope it improves as the show goes on. I know they're at least greenlit through season 3. Fane grinning and walking away as the Trollocs are starting to rampage through the town. Again, not subtle, but good. Spot on Fane. Liked it. Matt's run from the forge all to try and find his sisters and his parents and stuff. Good scene. Good tension. Excellent effects. Excellent practical, like CGI effects. There's one Trolloc who's actually part wolf, who actually runs on all fours, and it looks great. Bull-headed ones, or cow-headed ones, whatever you want to call them. The ones with horns. Those are fantastic. Those look fantastic. And the set and camera movements and everything are bombastic and fantastic. And I want to see more of that. I really do want to see more of that. It just reinforces my thought of that is where the show should have started. Right there, Winter Night. And then next is the scene where the Trollocs get to Rand's house. And I was like, all right, Narg time, yes! And then Narg not smart. Cal sad. Narg not smart. I have the Illyr companions send their regards because, Tam stabs that fucker in the chest. I was like, okay, good job, Roos. There is a Roos on the loose. And then, yep, Nynaeve is still the best so far. The music is still bad because I love the scene where the Trolloc has her and Egwene cornered and roars like it's getting ready to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to enjoy my, stabby Trolloc time and then eat you guys. You kind of get that vibe from what he's doing. And then Nynaeve pulls out like a knife that's like this big. It's like a tool. It's not a weapon. Well, it can be used as a weapon. But you know what I mean. It's something this small is for close-in fine work. Whittling branches, cutting extraneous strings off a thing, maybe getting your dinner ready. But she has that sucker ready, and she screams back at the Trolloc. I loved that. That was amazing. But damn, the cast time for Moiraine's weaves is too damn high. I'm hoping for more improvements later on. We know that Moiraine's not supposed to be the most powerful, channeler. She's not. She gets her respect by planning well and executing well, and also having Lan or Alan Mondragoran as her freaking warder has got to go a long way towards, other than power level, because we know how the White Tower works, to getting people to respect her innately. And of course, she likes to do a lot of her stuff in secret and all of that. And so people have a lot more faith in what power level she has than probably is actually her power level, if we're being honest. But even then, that means she should be using the weaves in subtle ways. Because we see that in the book. Again, I'm going to keep doing this because I don't know what else to do. Again, I don't hate it. I don't hate the show. I do think it's great. I enjoyed it. But I do not like that she, does some freaking Tai Chi for a moment and then collapses a building or whatnot. In the book, she casts an illusion spell after, already, and then we only found out later she was, being able to throw fire and stuff around. Collapsing the building was a little excessive, and the way I always imagined Moiraine using, fire and stuff is people who see her do it, they apply a lot more power to what she's doing than probably she actually is, setting up a weave of air and fire, like a small one, maybe the size of a nickel, right into the eye of a Trolloc. That would be classic Moiraine. Or, whipping people with weaves of air and knocking them about, but in ways not such that she's smashing them all over the place, but making their own balance get fucked up because of the way she's able to ding them up. That's always the way I imagined it. So again, this is probably my own bias of how I view the character. projecting onto the screen here, but these are my honest thoughts. Her weave cast time's too high. She should be using it small and snappy, because that's what Moraine is. She's small and snappy. Still cold. I forgot. Perrin, and I don't even know if they've mentioned his wife's name, are being set up for the low point of the episode. What I could see being set up there, which if she had cool girl hair meant that she was going to survive, but she didn't have cool girl hair, I knew she was dead. And she got the Han Solo line, which still pisses me off, but okay. And then another one of my mods said, there is no wife, she doesn't exist. It's just a trick of the mind, a figment of our collective imaginations that should be scrubbed out. He's a Dutchman. Don't ever change. I said, oh, and now we learn her name. And she's dead. I'm shocked. Who would have seen this coming? Moraine got dropped by a dagger throw. Dagger throw is like a first level spell, and she gets dropped by it. Again, her cast time too damn high. Again, I do not like the music used in that scene. It seems like most of what I hear on that show was made in like GarageBand by a second-year music student. Not that there are no good second-year music students out there. I know a few, and they're fucking talented. But what we've got going on here sounds like the intro music to a D&D podcast, not the fucking Wheel of Time show that it should be. My mod says, yeah, it takes her forever to weave, but that's just for extra dramatic effect. Like, yeah, it's stupid. And then Lan should not be hiding here, because when all the Trollocs and stuff are coming, Lan is like taking cover while Moraine is still out in the open, which is just straight up, that's wrong. It's wrong characterization. It's just wrong. You can't change my mind. Nah, 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 nah. Oh, you're more than welcome to down below. Seriously, these are just my raw thoughts at the time that I was watching it. And then I said, oh no, Moraine did 9/11 on the end, which is fucked off. Like, how dare you? You took a bath there. Bad Moraine. No. And then my mods, the Dutch mod, says, it was an inside job done by Chin Bowie to create more thatching business, which, given what happens in just a moment, is pretty fucking funny. Okay, riding in with Rand on horse Tam is inferior to Travoy rambling fever Tam. Yep, I agree with that. I know why they're not doing that, because they want to create dramatic effect for when the Who is the Dragon Reborn speech gets done. But I just don't like it showed Rand's ingenuity in the book by having him build the Travoy and his determination to get his father over there, and it also set up some very important stuff, which if they do differently, I'm fine with them doing differently, but what we got was not what I like. I mean, if you're going to have the Roose fucking Bolton, which I really should learn the actor's name, he is fantastic, let him do something. He hardly got to do anything except misplace his spear in one scene, steal matches from Aludra, which is sexist, and, eat hot chip and lie. I get why they cut it, though. Got to keep it mysterious who the dragon is. And he says, which is stupid, but that is another story. And I disagree that trying to, do a sort of, who could it actually be shtick is fine. I don't know if I enjoy the way that they're doing it yet, but I'll have to see as they get closer to the reveal. Again, we're still in episode 1 here. I've been recording 35 minutes. Oh, Jesus. So far, only Matt has succeeded in his evening goals, which is true, because he went to go find the girls. He found the girls, and he brought them back. I said that is kind of amazing, because his whole thing is luck, and, eventually. And that scene of him succeeding, it's not very long, because we just switch back over to Rand showing up to where the Aes Sedai are and being like, oh yeah, my dad got stabbed. And they're like, oh yeah, it's Trolloc poison. And I was like, Trolloc poison? I haven't read the books this year, but I've read them every other year since I was like 14. And A Memory of Light had like just come out. So I don't know. It's a weird thing to me it should be the Fade's blades, or maybe they're like, I don't know. Just, it could be a regular infection, because that is kind of what it is. You don't need to call it Trolloc poison. Just add something I guess make Trollocs more threatening. I guess. I don't know. Go, Matt. Yell at the crazy religious witch. So far, Matt and Nynaeve are close as far as like close to their book characters. Because, yeah, Matt mouthing off and being a facetious asshole. Love that. Don't like what was done to his family. I do like that we see that his gambling is sort of kind of an addiction for him. And I like how much he cares for his younger siblings. I think that's amazing. And Nynaeve is like almost perfect, in my opinion, with especially what Zoe Robbins is able to bring to the table. I think it's great, and I want to see more of it. Now, at the very end of the first episode, do we get the Wind speech, the opening monologue or narration or voiceover, whatever the fuck you want to call it? Then you start with that, and you maybe even do a Galadriel style, like Lord of the Rings, and then hard cut to Dragonmount, and we do that as our cold open, and then we have our opening theme song, and then you start in on Winter Night, zooming down. I'm gonna stop complaining. All right. Yeah, and that brings us to the end of episode 1.